Hey, flashbangers. I'm getting ready to hit up our guest. Ooh. Hey, Nettles. Ah, the weirdest dream. Lord have mercy. Dear on my wall. Hello. Yep. Thank you for joining me, Queen Phierce. Oh, look at these people. Look at these people being right on time. Yes. Whew. Hey, girl. Look at you just looking nice.
Listen, I
Look
had
at,
to
look
do
at,
what we talked about.
you just look pretty. Look at you just looking pretty.
I
You
had
just
to
look,
throw on a
look
little
good.
highlighter for y'all because 4 minutes ago it was not looking like this.
Look at God. She always looks fabulous. She just takes it up to different levels. That's what she's
It's,
really
it's
trying to tell
definitely
you.
levels to it. It's definitely levels to it.
Yes, I'm gonna try not to show all of my place, but I'm at least turn on a light for us so we have slightly brighter light. Girl,
Y'all
I had
might
the
get this
weirdest.
white wall today because if you see the rest of this room, you might be sorely
Mhm.
mistaken.
Oh my God. I'm a,
Look, everybody joining in. Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all.
hey.
Hey. Come to see about little old me.
Yeah. Oh, she fabulous. Her. Listen, this person who's amazing, extremely supportive, and you'll see that through these questions. Yes, yes, yes. Um, okay, y'all. Okay, yes, yes. Look at the head wrap. People, look at this wonderful head wrap. Look, it just has so many pretty patterns and colors.
Ready to
Yes,
get this
yes,
party started.
yes. Awesome. Look at her earrings, people. At least my lips match my shirt. That's what I gave y'all. I gave you
My
lip
lips
shirt.
match my shirt.
That's true. That's
We won't
true.
say
Look
it's the
at
same shirt I
this.
had on yesterday. I'm still in quarantine, y'all. I'm still living in
Yes.
quarantine. Like, it's real wretched over here. All right, let me get
Listen,
situated.
people, give her some hearts and some love and follow her afterwards. This is just one of the fabulousnesses. I'm trying to tell you. She is quarifying.
Horrifying. I'll take it.
Yes, yes. All right, all right. Well, Miss Phierce, Miss Queen Phierce, can you please tell the audience who you are, your artist name, even though I just said it?
I know. Well, I am Queen Phierce. For those of you who don't know who I am, Queen Phierce. I can be found right here on Facebook. Well, this is Instagram. Right here on Instagram and Facebook, Queen Phierce, Queen Phierce, or Queen Phierce has spoken.
Mm.
I'm a poet, spoken word artist, author, actress, curator of dope spaces, and overall queen.
Yes,
Living that
that's it.
queen life.
Yes,
I think
yes.
that sums it up.
Okay, I like that. You may have actually answered one of the other questions. All right, Miss Queen Fierce from fabulous Philadelphia. Um,
Fabulous
um,
Philadelphia.
yes, yes, we showed out yesterday at that march. I was so proud.
Did
Saw
you
my
see my people out there?
just marching for freedoms. Not one, but all of them. Freedoms. It's plural.
Freedoms.
Yes. All right, all right. When do you feel was the first time that you met art?
Oh, the first time I met art,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, I don't know. As a child, I always was into drawing. I think I
Mm-hmm.
thought I was going to be a fashion designer. I would like draw these very shapely women with like what I thought was beautiful clothes on, these like long dresses or just like regular casual wear, and I would put little designs in the tops and do their
I love
hair
that.
all kinds of ways. Yeah, so I think my first introduction to art was drawing, and then for me to later discover that that was like a passion that my mom
Mm-hmm.
had as well. She, in her teenage years,
Mm-hmm.
she actually used to sketch, and she actually had sketchbooks
Mm-hmm.
like underneath her bed. And it's like, to look at her,
Oh.
you wouldn't know
Mm-hmm.
or think that that was something that she, really enjoyed or liked to do. But in her footsteps, I was a sketcher, but I mostly drew like females in female clothing. That was like
Mm-hmm.
the extent of my drawing at that time. I
Hmm.
was young, maybe around 10 or a little younger into my
Okay.
teenage years.
Okay. No, that's interesting. On our interview yesterday with the director Bobby Yin and activist Bobby Yin, um he was talking about having found the the passion for drawing. So what was particularly interesting about all it was just interesting in general, and I definitely want to see some of these drawings from Princess Phierce. Um, yes,
I
um,
would have to dig way, way, way in the crates.
I want to see.
I know.
um,
Now you got me
yes,
like, where are these drawings at? I could probably do a
yes.
reenactment.
Yes, listen. I'm gonna do the hand. I learned about this. I was looking at these Yvonne Orgy and saying different Nigerian slang. And since I've been asking my different African play cousins where my face looks like it hails from, we've settled on like a lot of people have mentioned like at least West African, definitely Nigeria. Mentioned some different tribes and nations. So boom, I'm gonna do the hand. This may not be this hand also incorporated some European people who hopped in the family tree, and maybe one more seven indigenous tribes. But listen, they said, well, five fingers according to her was bad. So listen,
It's always a show with you, Rory.
yes, I'm learning to embrace that. That's probably
Hmm.
how we're gonna get caught. Running away from the aliens, not this now. This is I'm playing a different role, even though I'm probably gonna be outside of one of these things too. But no, the aliens, the hostile aliens, or the aliens who are looking for some cute black people, like beep boop beep boop, beep boop beep boop. Stop. But that's boop 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 boop.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just fallen right into one of Rory's stories. Rory's stories.
Oh my god, that is so cute. Like I want to wear like a little Lolita dress when I'm like reading stuff. Actually, I might be doing that on the Twitch channel. But back to what you said originally that makes it even more interesting. Not only is it a visual arts, um it's generational, which is there was a question. So like my major in psych was college. My major in college was psychology. And one thing we would look at was like nature versus nurture, right? Or the conjunction of it. Especially as far as like one example was like where arts were concerned. And it's like, are you just naturally born with it? Or are you encouraged to do it? And definitely it seems like everybody was like settling on the fact that, it's both. So it's really interesting to see that art got passed down. Like in my head, I'm curious, like if you as like an infant saw your mom drawing and consciously don't remember but like might remember a little bit, or if it's just
Right.
a natural spiritual slide through. Yes, I love. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Nettles. Nettles is gonna be today too, so I hope you see her as well too. But yeah, be boop be boop. I would. I swore at 7. I had imaginary boyfriends. I had imaginary friends too, but I started out dating. dating invisible people when I was young. So yeah. I swore I would date an alien or a mutant. I was down. I was like, okay, we doing this. Bush root, what's good? I know you like run from Darkwing Duck and everything, but like, listen, maybe you can negotiate, work on I know you have to like kind of some community service. Like, our relationship can't be on the run. All right, let me ask you. All right. So you kind of mentioned all of your different art practices, that you are a poet, that you still do design, that you are a host, which is like just a truly an amazing art unto itself, because it's a mass you're it really falls in, I feel like, the art of producing, or the art of pulling all the
Yeah.
strings together, including the purse strings. Managing the purse strings is a whole other art, that like when you have to like kind
It's
of
a
put some,
whole
or
nother
maybe
level. So
mm-hmm,
speaking of levels to it, um, as a host, well, and that's why I've been, I guess, adapting to the term curator. Um,
mm-hmm,
curate Someone has actually called me that, a curator of dope spaces, and I was like, I like that, so I think I'm just
it's
gonna hold
her.
on to it. It's mine.
Yes.
But when you talk about like everything that goes into
Mm-hmm.
creating these spaces, making sure that they're safe and fulfilling purpose,
Mm-hmm.
it can be a work, so
Yeah.
not just as the host or someone who's in front of the crowd, or taking you on this journey of whatever this event is, but organizing all of those pieces together, and like you said, coming out of the pocket. And there's so many different
Mm-hmm.
facets and aspects that goes into doing an event, which I see why people hire teams. You know what I mean? You need the producer,
Mm-hmm.
you need the promoter, you need somebody to host, you need your performers and all that. But when you're like all of that wrapped into one, that it
Mm-hmm.
can it's an art, like you said.
Yes. No, I'm sorry. Going to someone said there's a little reverb with the volume, but no, I definitely agree with um like definitely having like definitely having hosted like some different flashbang concerts, but you definitely like is it fair to say that you've done at least 100 shows, and that's not just between like one of the poetry gatherings that we'll end up talking about, but also
Mm-hmm.
she's been like the amazing choir queen of some incredible poetry and performance gatherings on here. And like what I really like about you is you embrace flexibility. Like you tried on one particular platform where they wanted to be sideways about their stuff. You just moved it over, and people move with you. Like even when because definitely like it's being a host is also really counting on your equipment, and like
Yeah.
hoping, making sure the mic is there when or like being able to like talk with people like, listen, we don't have a mic for a while, can you just be loud? And people who are very professional, people going, cool. The if you were able to like one, if you're able to work with different different personalities, and not necessarily saying bad, you know or what, good, you're blessed enough you can get some good people who are really like just here and really about the business of show, you know um
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that you get like folk, and stuff might be like a little off here, like I'm thinking for myself, if it's
Yeah.
like too, yeah, it's you do a really good job like doing those poetry shows. And listen, y'all, one time, Queen, that night went interesting. We set it on adult fire, if you get my drift. It was good. It was great. I know I will, that will always stay in my mind of one of the
It was
best
good,
nights
good.
ever.
I was clutching my imaginary pearls. That is one thing that I like about the network that I've
Hate that.
built over,
Mm-hmm.
I will say, at least the last 10 years, is
Mm-hmm.
that I do have a community and friends that I can tap
Mm-hmm.
into and say, hey, I'm doing this. Would you be interested? And people will do it on the strength. And I feel like it
Yeah.
really speaks to how I've supported people over the years. It's
Yeah.
only been,
Mhm.
I will say,
Mhm.
in the last 2 years where I've been really pushing myself, promoting myself, doing more
Mhm.
performances, creating different types of events. But for
Mhm.
years prior, I was always the backbone of other people's events and
Mhm.
projects. Um, playing the background, helping people get things produced and printed and published. You know, I've
Mhm.
been on the back end, I would say, on those types of things. Whereas now it seems like I'm more on the forefront, and also just being able to produce different types of events, like
Mhm.
producing a radio show every single week.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know,
True network.
finding content, finding guest
Mhm.
hosts and people to interview, basically continuing to grow the network while tapping into a community of queens or the community that's
Mhm.
out there that, you know, wants to listen, creating these mixed art shows and poetry
Mhm.
shows, and then having to turn them virtual when
Yeah.
you know,
Went
we're in the
inside.
face of COVID-19, which we are. I'm
Mhm.
still going to be virtual for a little while.
Yeah.
Before I really dive into it, even though things are starting to open. But just imagine the ways that you have to, when this is the year that I have really intended on launching Triple C Social, which is
Mhm.
cocktails, creativity, and conversation. Well, it's a
Mhm.
ladies' social. It's all based around people getting together. And so, right at the
Mhm.
height of me pushing that forward is when we went into lockdown. So it's like, well, what am
Mhm.
I supposed to do? Like, you
Mhm.
can't have events. You can't make money. I can't create events. You can't, you know, generate
Mhm.
the environment that people were looking forward to, and this learning how to be creative with that. And so through all of this, was able to develop new programming that I probably would not have otherwise, you know, if
Mhm.
things were just business as usual. It just really forced me to kind of think outside of the box. So we do have virtual self-care Sunday, which is
Mhm.
from Triple C Social. We do have 4P International, which is the
Mhm.
virtual version of the intimate poetry gathering. We still
Mhm.
have the Queen Network, even though I can't be live in the studio. So it's
Mhm.
all about taking your what you know to figure it out. That's what I tell my daughter all the
Mhm.
time. It's like, I know things are difficult, but just take what you know to figure
Mhm.
the rest out, you know?
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you. I'm glad you definitely named the different thing you're blah, blah, the different things that you're part of, such as 4P International, the Self Care Sundays, and I hope folk are listening and definitely join in, because these are things that are, you know, are not only entertaining and fun, which is definitely a spirit that you bring, but also they're very honestly good to move through some things. And I like what Nettle said down here. We've not gotten through the first wave, so I definitely understand. And I like how you are, you know, definitely what, you know, Black folk and, you know, speaking as us, Black women definitely do with like, okay, all right, this is what we doing, y'all. Hand me the thread. No,
Right.
so together. But what I like is that you're encouraging a network of us, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and like, other people of us to like support us, you know, like, and you know, being inclusive with the queens. You know, a lot of times queens, many queens are extremely cute women, cis, trans, non-binary, you know, just adorable, wearing crowns, you know. And I like that, you know, not in we're supporting, you know, we're supporting our queens, our super inclusive queens, our super inclusive queens. I was about to say not supporting, you know, we're supporting all the different queens, and particularly on you know, particularly on the feminine, you know. Let me rephrase that, because we have some very masculine facing queens too. I love it. We just got a
I
little bit of
don't. I
everybody.
always ask
Mm-hmm.
people how they prefer, what they prefer to
Pronoun.
be addressed,
Just that.
because I don't
Yeah.
want to assume that just because you're a female that you want to be called queen. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to
That's
assume that if
Mm-hmm.
you are masculine presenting, that you don't want to be called
It'll be
queen.
called queen, right? It's always best
So
to ask.
yeah, I
From,
usually I do a check-in. And
mm-hmm,
you'd be surprised, there's a lot of
mm-hmm,
masculine presenting women or masculine centered women
mm-hmm,
who still like to be addressed as queen, like
mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
in their heart that's who they am.
Mm-hmm,
But there's other masculine presenting women who are just
mm-hmm.
like, don't call me that, like I don't want to be
Right.
associated with,
Prefer to
I
be
guess,
called king.
the femme components of queen.
Mm-hmm.
But in my eyes, royalty is royalty. So
Yes. Mm-hmm. Especially,
however you want to be addressed, just let me know, and that's what
yeah.
we're going to do. We're going to move forward. I'm about
Mm-hmm,
humanity. People are
mm-hmm,
people, and I've always created
mm-hmm,
spaces and
mm-hmm.
always been able to make people feel comfortable with who they are and just
Yeah.
be comfortable in their skin. And I feel
It's,
like that's why I've had, I guess, this level of
yeah.
success,
Mm-hmm,
over the years, of people that support me, because I truly
mm-hmm.
have supported anybody and will continue to do so.
Yeah.
Whatever, I always say, whatever is in my power to do, I will do it.
Mm-hmm.
Just let me know.
And and I love that. Like we definitely, and I'm always saying this, and God has definitely blessed me with people. I would say, especially in my 30s, when you start really like, I don't want to say get your shit together. Oops, I usually don't. I usually curse on here. Well, I don't think so. Anyway, point being, I like that you provide safe spaces, and sometimes you hear people yabba dabba doing about like life isn't safe. So it's no, we need safe spaces so people can feel whole, and that honestly is what being a queen or being a you know adult is about. Like realizing like I've been blessed enough to be able to achieve my center. Let me make sure that the space that I'm providing around people offers that to them too. And that's, I feel
Absolutely.
like, yeah, that is about being real royalty. Like a real, coming from my particular background, like Christian, partially Christian background, the Son of God hopped down and washed some feet. All right, now, God, I'm sorry, no, I'm not gonna say that. But anyway, a thought ran through my mind, a good joke, but I'm not gonna make it today.
Here we
I
go.
have not found
Write
found
it
my
down and
sister.
put it in a Rory story.
Thank you, yo. I'm like really liking that title, but my point is like, I like that I've heard Najla, who is the filmmaker behind Jen, and Ryan Coogler, who both went to prom together. I was like, what? She said that on her channel or somewhere, but like they both really are about like being servant directors or an actor's director, like really getting empathetic. And you see
Hmm.
amazing work from that. You know what I'm saying? You see Jen, and she's also directed a dope episode of like Queen Sugar. Ryan, Fruitville Station, Black Panther, these revolutionary
Revolutionary.
movies. Right,
Hmm.
right. That really, I think, is part of what has moved us to this note. Both the frustration of being, to quote Queen or royalty, Fannie Lou Hamer, sick and tired of being
Hmm.
sick and tired, especially when you're sick and inside, or like having to deal with that, maybe not being sick, but being inside and being sick and tired of being inside as well. And
Right.
just like, but I honestly believe like every touchstone has like, led up to this. And one thing I really like, and I'm going to end up asking you more, and I definitely want to loop back to the book, is that, and I'm gonna ask you about your history with hosting too. That's why I had to drag and look, because I'm sitting in some good light. I don't want to like turn around, um, but
You gotta hold on to your good light now.
yes, yes. Look at that band. Should be like that crab in Moana
Right.
soup.
I caught a
Um,
little
yeah.
little beam. I was like, "Oh, this highlight is hitting right on this side. Let me get on
Yes,
this side."
yes. It's yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think definitely like some movies have also given us revolutionary touchstones to remember both our pain and our strength. you know, and it's some powerful stuff. And I love that you are like, you know, you are, while you are definitely celebrating everybody, you're particularly celebrating, like, you know, the black royalty or the black queens, because that is oh so necessary. Like, we always hear about how like people are after us and stuff, which is true, but I love, we have to have moments of celebration, and I love that
Oh,
you make those
yeah,
faces and, you know, make them fun. How did you
that's
get into
part of it.
hosting?
So, um, I guess I've always been that girl. Like, I've never been
Mm,
afraid to step in front of a crowd. I think
mm,
in my younger years, you know, I always had
mm,
that ping of nervousness, and then it would just like
mm,
leave from me whenever I was doing whatever I was doing. But I grew up as a performer. I was on every gospel choir, every drama team. Poetry I
mm,
held on to for myself. I didn't start
mm,
writing poetry
mm.
until I was 13. And then when
Okay.
I got into hosting, I did host an open mic back in like
Mm,
2007, I think it was, called
mm,
Poetic Passion. It ran for a year. It was once a month, and we did it for 13 months. So I was grateful for that space.
mm,
And then I started doing 4P, which
mm,
People Poetry Potluck and Prose, which was the
mm,
intimate poetic gathering in
mm,
my home, literally what it sounds like, but basically like the open mic for people who wouldn't go to open mic,
mm,
for poets and lovers of the art. And so for a long time,
mm,
that was my outlet. You know, I would
mm,
write just for 4P, just so I could share at
mm,
4P, because that's where I felt like my art had value. And so
mm,
over the years, people started asking me to host more things, like, hey, I'm having this poetry event,
mm,
or hey, would you come do such and such birthday party, or hey, and then people started asking me to do more of my poetry at different types of
mm,
events. So it's just, I think it just all started from me having that kind of like outgoing personality, always making people feel comfortable, where people felt like,
mm,
hey, she would be a great host. And I guess that kind of
mm,
pushed me into hosting more of events that I curate, that I created.
mm.
And so now this is actually our anniversary month for
Oh,
the Queen
cool.
Network. I've been hosting the
Mm,
Queen Network
mm,
for 2 years, and so that's been every single week. We're weekly on
nice.
Wednesday for the
Mm,
Queen Network. So yeah, I've been able to, and you know what's so funny, and this is why I always say don't negate the power of your words. There was a point, I believe it was
yeah.
back in 2010, when I was really getting 4P rolling, and
Mm,
I realized like this is what I love to do. Like I love for people to get together. I genuinely love, it does something for my heart to see people
mm,
enjoy each other, enjoy conversation, just have a good time, eat good food,
mm,
smile, be involved with one another. Like it literally
mm,
fills my spirit to see that kind of thing, and to know like
yeah.
if I facilitate that, it's just like,
Mm,
yo, this may not have happened if I didn't have this fantastic idea to get everybody together. So
mm,
I remember saying, like, I want to host parties and I want to get paid
mm,
for it, you know. And while some of that is still in the works, you know what I mean?
mm,
It speaks about going and um going into your passion and working towards your passion. Now that's
mm,
something that I said 10 years ago that I don't even think I realized was a seed
mm,
until I birthed Triple C Social last year. And I was like, I'm putting
mm,
together parties, you know what I mean? And nobody's like
mm.
paying me directly. Like I broke even probably on every single one that I
Yo, that's
hosted.
great.
But
Ooh,
it
congratulations. Yes.
yeah, it's a work, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to like we
Mm-hmm.
talked about before, was like putting together these events.
Yeah.
So but
Mm-hmm.
it was genuinely like I had that same feeling all over
Mm-hmm.
again after my first Triple C Social, watching those ladies just like let loose and
Mm-hmm.
have a good time and enjoy one another, some of them complete strangers but leaving friends. And it's just like, yo, We put together another, though I always refer to myself as we because we got a lot
Oh,
going
me
on in here.
too. We have to do this.
But
We
we
are
put
the
together
boys.
another dope space where people can just embrace who
Mm-hmm.
they are, be who they
Yeah.
are, enjoy one another, have conversation, have
Mm-hmm.
a cocktail, be safe. You know what I mean? And be safe in all aspects of the word. You know, be able to be
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable with yourself and other people and not have to worry about it about being attacked or have it coming back to you. You know what I mean? That those
Yeah.
kind of spaces
Mm-hmm.
which truly cultivate not just Black women but the Black community. We need
Yeah.
those type of spaces because for so
Mm-hmm.
long, I feel like I'm on a tangent right now, but for so
No,
long
you had me
in
crying,
so
girl. I
many
was like, and Natalie
cases,
said she feels like she's getting a Philly hug from New
you got
Orleans.
in
So
so
yeah,
many
no, let's keep
cases
going.
we're told to just kind of like push
Mm-hmm.
that part of us down because we have to keep
Mm-hmm.
going, we have to keep moving
Yeah.
forward, you know what I mean? And we don't get
Mm-hmm.
those moments to just let loose or express because there's always something that needs to be taken care of. Black
Mm-hmm.
women as head of households, Black women as mothers, Black
Yeah.
women as sisters
Mm-hmm.
holding up their
Yeah.
brothers who are Black men, Black women as daughters who are praying for elderly parents or people that you have to take
Mm-hmm.
care of, or going to the grocery store for your grandmama or the neighbor. Black women are the nurturers of this community. Black women
Mm-hmm.
are the mothers of this world. And so with us carrying the worlds in on our backs and in our wombs, it gets heavy, but we don't have it all the time to just be
Mm-hmm.
able to release. But if you can just walk into
Mm-hmm.
a space, a safe space, and
Mm-hmm.
just breathe, what it means for a Black woman to just be able to breathe. Can I just
Ooh.
have, sometimes I tell my kids, I say, I need a break. Like, can I just breathe for a
Yeah.
second? Can I have 1 second without somebody saying, can we, are we going to, da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da. Like, can I just have a second to breathe? And in our
Mm-hmm.
everyday lives, we don't get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's important for these spaces to be created because we, Black women in particular, have to
Mm-hmm.
be more, have to give a concerted effort and have to be more
Mm-hmm.
conscious about setting aside time for our own personal self-care.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, is the bottom line. To
Yeah.
me, is the
Yeah.
bottom line. And sometimes being a part of these spaces, I'm not even going to say sometimes, I think it's important to be a part of these spaces as your self-care. Work it in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be all the time, but what I'm trying to do is encourage people to, take some time, because before you know it, all your time is consumed with everything that you had to do for everybody else. And I'm talking from experience, but I
Mm-hmm.
take my time when I need time. Like, try to, I would say, try to schedule in your time as a kind of preventative measure, almost like how you do your own health screening, or you have to take your medication in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
As a preventative measure, schedule in your
Mm-hmm.
time. Like, I'm not doing shit else for anybody else between 7 and 8 p.m., period, before you need the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It comes down
Mm-hmm.
to, like, okay, you so stressed out you can't do anything else, and before you know it,
Yeah.
you blowing the roof off the top. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
schedule your time in as a preventative measure, but when you need
Mm-hmm.
time, honor that you need time, and that's just what it is. We don't always honor it. We've been taught,
Condition.
ingrained,
Mm-hmm.
conditioned, thank you, that we have to keep moving forward, that we have to keep pushing forward,
Yeah.
that nobody
Mm-hmm.
nobody is going to get it unless I do it, that I'm not going to get it unless I'm doing it. It ain't going to get done unless I do it. And all of that may be true, but you can't pour from an empty glass. And that's just been my mantra for the
That's so
last
true.
2 years. You cannot pour from an empty glass. Who is going
Mm-hmm.
to fill you back up? And the thing about it is, you can't depend on other people to fill you back up. It's
Mm-hmm.
a hard truth. You can't depend on other people to fill you back up. So since you can't depend on it, like, if you get some droplets here or there from somebody else, fine, well and good. But depend
Mm-hmm.
on yourself, because that's an absolute, to fill yourself back up. Take your time and fill yourself back up. That's just what it is. And so I didn't mean to like do the takeover, but I want to say this
No,
one
it was a
thing.
moment. Mm-hmm.
It was.
No, like no,
Sorry,
it's
y'all, 'cause
no,
I done
no.
hit
Please, no. Don't apologize, because like you know what?
y'all
It's
hit the passion button right there.
no.
Ping.
I think we, the just queens, black queens particularly, need to hear that. Like, I think one thing that I've recognized, like just from having listened to certain groups, is that sometimes we as kids may have experienced the toxic behavior because we're dealing with a mom who's like sometimes in that moment just full up of the toxicity. You definitely can't pour from an empty glass or a glass that hasn't been washed. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can, but that's anyway other story. But like just it. I think with our grandmothers, like just they may not have had for real like a choice, but we're blessed enough that they made one for us.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, and this is a different this might be a different show, but that sometimes we come to a head because it's both the conditioning. We've been conditioned both with what they learned and what they hoped for us,
Mm-hmm.
and I realize I think especially like millennials, older millennials, and definitely I think Gen Z or parts of Gen Z are embracing that truth, embracing the fact that we know to heal for real, we have to have that space and that time to just be human and just go, huh, like you said, I
Yeah.
like how like just to be able to get that breath back, both the physical one and also the spirit
Yeah.
too. It's
It's
and I
important.
yeah, and I saw that Nettle said like self care is you are excuse me, you are doing it for yourself, but also it is going to come back for like the folks you care about a lot, also yourself too.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
feel like
mhm,
that's the bottom line, because the fact of the matter is, and I had this conversation with somebody else the other day, is people
mhm,
depend on us. People we are somebody to somebody else. We fulfill a need for somebody else. If there wasn't us, somebody else may not get what they need. So
mhm,
because
mhm,
we are these things to so many different people in our lives, and I personally am one to pray to
mhm,
show me the
mhm.
outline of a relationship. Like, who am I supposed to be to this person?
Ooh,
What is
again, say that again.
what is my purpose in this person's life, right?
Mhm,
So always allow me to be exactly who I'm supposed to be to that person, whether it's a reason, a season, a lesson, like whatever it's supposed to be is what it's
mhm,
going to be anyway. So in the
mhm,
interim of that, in that,
mhm,
show me, guide me how I'm supposed to
mhm,
manage this relationship. Like, who is this person supposed to be to me?
mhm,
Do they have a purpose in my life? Like, is relationships are gold. Like, I don't care if somebody tells you off, treats you like shit or whatever. You never know if that person is going through, if what they're going through, if they're having a bad day. But
mhm,
when people treat me some type of way, I give them space. I give myself space because I'm still here. I be
mhm,
talking all this stuff. Take care of yourself. We operate in your higher self, but I'm still a
mhm.
human person. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's things that rub me the right and wrong ways, and
Yeah.
I take space when needed, but I'm able to come back full circle and say, you know what,
Mhm,
is there something I can do for you? You know what I mean? And that takes a lot to do with someone who maybe just laid you out, or or because it's not, when people lash out at you, when people exhibit undesirable behavior with you, it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with
mhm,
you. But people
mhm,
are so apt to take things personally. You know what I mean? That it's like,
mhm.
why me? Why are they
Yeah.
attacking me? I didn't do
Mhm,
anything to them. And I'm guilty of that. I be like, I
mhm.
snaps. I be like, I didn't do nothing to you. So take that back. You know what I mean?
That's out
Take
of the
that
air
tone,
and
right?
throw it away.
Snatch it right out. Take that tone back. Take
First.
that face back. Take these gestures back. Take all them words back, because I ain't do it. And I know
Mhm.
I didn't do it. Well, if you know you didn't do it, don't allow
Uh,
your emotions to get wrapped up into that. Let
mhm.
things
Mm-hmm.
proceed and progress the way that they're going to proceed and progress, and then come full
Mm-hmm.
circle. That person has a need, but they didn't know how to communicate it at that time. And so you'll realize that the root of a lot of what we go through is
Mm-hmm.
based on needs that aren't communicated. People just
And
really
they,
need to
oh,
learn how to communicate with one another.
and
It's so hard. Why is life so hard? Why is life so hard?
no, I said, girl, you just like have been saying, hold on, I'm okay. like,
Get it together.
recover. It's a long story. I'm trying to keep some stuff to bullet points, and it's hard. But but yeah, no. I was about to say I like what you said. I think like well, I definitely am of the school of, and or I should say, learning that sometimes it's okay to love somebody from
A
over there.
distance.
I like what you said, and that you're right. A lot of times, especially since we're, as humans, we're both the average are community touched or community based, and at the same time very egocentric, so you are doing things because of you. I know, honestly, I know this. I'm like very much an HSP, or a highly sensitive person.
Mhm.
And I have to kind of speak when I'm feeling some stuff, but God has like really blessed me with like a little network of people who are going like, oh no, I didn't mean that, this is what I was saying. No, you say
Yeah.
you good. So like
Right.
I realize sometimes it's him, but I am loving when I realize it's me and I can do something about it. Because I was
Mm-hmm.
watching this really dope. He's such the cutest little gay man. He just maybe I have
You
to make
think
sure I'm not
everybody is cute,
criticizing him,
Rory.
but it's my he's just so cute, and he tells the best stories, girl. Listen, I just learn things watching his channel. Um, I'm like, thank you, God
Oh, that
Father.
sounds like Malcolm J. Harris. Is that him? I
No,
watch
no,
him sometimes.
it's a guy called Michael. But what he said is like you have to. One thing he wants in a relationship or two, he said consistency and communication, and part of that is
Mhm.
communicating like your triggers. But
Yes, that's a
sometimes
large part of it.
yeah, but sometimes because we've been bumped and bruised, like you said, life like going through it. Nettle said, I'm trying to quote her in reading. Life is only hard when you're going against the flow of it. Interest. Uh, just it's. I could definitely see that take. I think
Hmm.
sometimes those hills are just in there. Even if you going upstream, it's like a salmon, but you keep swimming. Or like Dory's, no, Dory was right up to a point. You like just keep swimming, but you got to rest behind a rock sometimes. But I'm gonna be here. Like, no, y'all keep going. You growing your teeth and everything. Because salmons like grow fangs for mating season. Um, hold on. But my point is, like, you're absolutely right. You're like people. A lot of times are doing them, and not in a bad way, or at least it's
Hmm.
not even the sociopathic people. But that's a different thing in a paper I wrote. But Yeah, no, they are doing them, and they may not be aware of those triggers. Like I had a conversation with a real dope friend of mine, Devin, who's a photographer. You got to go see his stuff. He just did a forest shot. Um, is that thank Lord, like people are walking around not sensing, but just being. I don't want to say like zombies, but that's what came to mind for me. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, so like people are doing that, doing the thing, and then they're bumping into you, and sometimes you may not be aware of stuff. I like how you give people
Hmm.
space. I understand that, like, it's funny. The thing you do on like a macro level, you also are doing on the micro. You give people
Yeah.
spaces to be themselves, and it seems like in relationship, like you as like a sensitive, because if you're doing all these different arts, I know you are also probably an HSP or a highly sensitive person. Um, correct me if I'm wrong. I also try to get the space to, uh,
I am.
yeah.
This last week
Mm-hmm.
was really difficult for me because I began identifying as an empath. Like, I know
Mm-hmm.
that I've always been one, and I even went through a time period where I felt like I didn't exhibit empathy, but then I realized
Mm-hmm.
that was just part of me managing. my
Mm.
empathetic feeling. So this last week actually has been really tough on me.
Yeah.
Really I have not gotten a lot done because just
Mm-hmm.
emotionally I've been
Yeah.
drained. Just
Yeah.
kind of taking on things that I didn't necessarily mean to take on.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you're absolutely right. As far as communication, and that's a theme that's been really big for me over the last year. In my most recent um, session with my therapist, I like to say I
Mm-hmm.
graduated because we just had this
Mm-hmm.
mutual understanding that I don't need to
Mm-hmm.
be in therapy at this point in time. But there actually
Mm-hmm.
has been a vast difference from this last stint with therapy up until now, and a large part of it was just like being able to communicate my needs, you know.
Yeah.
Not I was focused more on, like I need to control my emotions, when it really was
Mm-hmm.
I need to be forthcoming about what I need, even in the
Yeah.
moment, even if it's with myself. You can communicate with those around you and they do their best. But sometimes you need to communicate your needs to yourself. Like I said, we get in those
Mm-hmm.
zones where we're just like pushing forward, and I have to do this and be everything to everybody, when you
Mm-hmm.
sometimes just need to tell yourself, yo, it's time to sit down. Or you like go in the room. There's been times where I just went and sat in my closet, or like I just need to go
Mm-hmm.
stretch across my bed right
Mm-hmm.
now because I can't be
Mm-hmm.
around people right now, or especially not you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah. And that's
give
okay.
me my space, when it's really you creating space. Is it you can't
Mm-hmm.
ask
Mm-hmm.
people to give you space. You need to create space.
Mm. I'm gonna ask some Negroes for some space sometimes, but at the same time, it's funny. You said something both just just straight, but yet it incorporates another one of our very traditional, like, well, one of our traditions about, or to borrow a term from my friend, an Abrahamic thing, but going to that prayer closet. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And like just prayer sometimes is just going, Lord, why? And that prayer is succinct,
Two
simple,
word
let's go.
prayers. Sometimes
Like,
it
or
ends
just,
up like that.
yeah. Wait, say that again. Say that again.
I
Say it
said
one
two.
more time for the people.
Right. Two-word prayers. Sometimes it just ends
Hmm.
up like that.
Yeah, no, I definitely, yeah, no, I definitely feel you on that. Like, I think that, but honestly, creating space, creating boundaries is important. It's not to say you try and put people out or you don't love people, but it is saying I love myself. And
Hmm.
like, again, it's like, I like how you're addressing these, you know, um, formats of self-love, and as an artist, especially, as being these little sensitive people, little sensitive prophets running around, you have to be able to create that to be able to heal. It is a hard road to go when you have a healer who's like has maybe too many broken pieces,
Right.
um honestly, as a healer, I think because you're going to be an empath or empathetic person, or else you would like just be over here doing something else. And that's not to say if you're not a mechanic, you're not a healer. If you're not, working as a trapeze artist in a circus, you're not a healer, or like a candle maker, or a teacher. So
Hmm.
you're going to be a healer. I think no matter what profession you're doing, it's kind of like art. We have our like
Yeah, if you're a
traditional,
healer, you're a healer. If you're an
yeah,
artist, you're an artist.
traditional, right, traditional arts. But to borrow what Bobby said yesterday, but if you're honestly living your best life or living it to the fullest that you're supposed to live in your purpose, you are doing artistic work, and so you
Doing
have
the
to take
work.
that time to kind of lay the pieces back in your center. And it's funny, I think, as right now with this new generation in its 30s, like I'm thinking American, but it might be broader. It probably is. It always is broader. What am I saying? But the point is, we're learning how to be better healers too. Because we're learning to do self care or like do the things that it definitely takes.
Right. And
Um.
that was just brought up the point that I was getting ready to say.
Mhm.
In order to be a healer,
Mhm.
you have to heal yourself first.
Mhm.
And to speak on that,
Yeah.
healing yourself
Mhm.
is an
Mhm.
ongoing work. Like, I don't
Yeah.
think you can ever honestly say like, oh, I'm like, okay, it
Mm-hmm.
is levels to it. Let me say that, because you get a cut, all right, it heals up, but
Mm-hmm.
it leaves a scar. This is a, you can't really see it, but this is a cut. Oh, you can't see it on here, but
Oh wait, I saw
there's
it.
a
I
cut
saw it.
that was a
It was there.
gash. Yeah, it was like
Mm-hmm.
busted wide open, and I let it heal itself. I didn't put nothing on it. I did a band-aid the
Mm-hmm.
first day, a good blood and everything, but it left a scar. So I feel
Yeah.
like, yes, we can heal ourselves. We can, we can do the
Mm-hmm.
healing work. We can stitch shit back up,
Mm-hmm.
but it does leave scars. Now, how you manage that is up to you. Or even the
Mm-hmm.
scar. We'll use this as an example. I have a scar right here. It's from a
Mm-hmm.
piercing that went bad, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if I focus on this scar, you know what I mean? I'm not focused on anything else. If I'm focused on what caused this blemish, this
Mm-hmm.
scar, this hurt,
Mm-hmm.
this pain, I can't
Mm-hmm.
focus on anything else. I have a
Mm-hmm.
whole, as you can see, I have all this life, all this face,
Mm-hmm.
all this beautiful skin, all
Mm-hmm.
the everything I got going on, but I'm focused on this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying? If you
Yeah.
focus on the scar, if you focus on what caused the hurt, if you focus
Mm-hmm.
on, oh, this is never going to go away, guess what? That's
Mm-hmm.
all you're going to think about. It'll consume you, and then you can't move forward to other
Mm-hmm.
places, other parts of you that need to heal, and
Mm-hmm.
then being the healer that somebody else is depending on you to be. So get over your scars. That
Mm-hmm.
bottom line. Get over your scars. It's healed. It's already healed, but you want to concentrate on the scar. Get over it. It's over. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
What else
It.
needs
I
to
think.
be stitched up?
I agree with you. I think sometimes when like, you can, and honestly sometimes like being HSP is you like genetically we can't like, or not to say, how do I put this? It takes us extra work to be able to like heal, some of those scars. But I honestly believe, because I've definitely like seen it and experienced it, God will send you somebody. Like, you know how angels, I think, do have wings. So that I did read that in Revelations. I really want to see this wing up close. At least I think I do. Okay, maybe not that wing, the Revelation wing. Let me get a world as an ending for 5, Larry. But like,
Good luck with
God sends
it.
you. Thank you. You mean because of the thing going on? Yeah. But in endings, in Randall Rook and Revelations, there's a new beginning happening. Whenever something's ending or the world is ending in some sort of way, it's definitely beginning anew in other ways too. And
Mm-hmm.
like I've definitely seen that. But like just like the new beginning, God, like when you're going through your worst or your most, non-beauty scarification, God usually sends you an angel somewhere in there. And you may not necessarily be able to see it. Um, or I should say, God sends you the option of an angel. You may not be ready for that angel to help you out, but like I think they do anyway, even if it's just leaving some hope behind, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And like that, like definitely, I think as artists, our words allow some of that little angel dust, little fairy dust to kind of like sprinkle around and give like the hope or just to leave something behind, even when the revolution may to a point, because we don't need to be quiet. I don't think we ever were quiet. Not since they like God is here. First person off the boat. I'm going back. I'm not feeling this. I'm gonna wait till you go to
Right.
sleep. It never was a choice. It was a bad maintenance. To say like we're gonna get up out of this.
Right.
Metal said 2020 is 14 live action Jumanji. That's true.
And
With the
is.
plague
And
and the
is.
hornets and the active revolution. But you know what? Like I said, even with all these elements, it just with every tornado, it means change. Something's like going down. That lion in Jumanji was out of pocket, just walking all over like he owned stuff in that mansion. Anyway, those monkeys were funny though. I saw the first one; it was hilarious. Um, I think they avoided like I'm trying to remember if they avoided all racial tropes with that. The game itself needed to don't play those drums. Those drums mean something different. Yes, some of us do live in the forest, and that's all right. Anyway, but I had a point. It was good, and then I got interested and invested in the first movie. Oh yeah, angels and words. So our words definitely can be angels to other people. Let's
Mhm.
talk about your book because we got about 5 minutes. We
And
can just enjoy, talk about self healing, the power of. Oh, I was gonna say you're enacting in my head a little bit the Greek god Hesta, and the funny part about it is that I was reading about this book that talks about a person who became a single mother to like a deity, and it's a
oh,
teen version of Hester, and
mhm.
that perfectly for hearth and home, providing people with a safe place where they can relax, you know. So just like you definitely embodying that spirit, and well,
Thank
you
you.
embody that spirit through hosting. Let's talk about your words in the book. What
Uh-huh.
inspired and I gotta get you back on because I want to ask how you went overseas. But let's talk about the book within the next 4 minutes before they start counting down on us. What
Okay.
inspired the book? And like what like kind of gave you the boost to write it? And what's your favorite poem out of it?
Okay. So I wish I was more prepared. I feel I was like, oh, I should have the book with me, but we'll
Don't worry,
we'll
girl.
do it whenever we do next time. But we
Yes.
we produced the book
No,
because
it's
I
okay. I'm
felt
we
like
too.
I know I was like I just have to get something out there. So I've always had
Mm-hmm.
projects on the table. Like I still have two book projects that were just staring me in the face, and I was like, well, what can I
Mm-hmm.
put out now? And so I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, what about an introduction to of my writing to the world? So I just think it's
Mm-hmm.
some like really beautiful writing from a certain era in my life, not particularly this one, but it's just like
Mm-hmm.
good poetry. And so it's called My
Mm-hmm.
Third Love, 11
Mm-hmm.
Poems for the Hardest in You.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's kind of just like that ebb and flow of Black queendom, you know,
Mm-hmm.
of love, of light, of all
Mm-hmm.
that jazz. So it's just a beautiful. To
Mm-hmm.
me, it looks beautiful. Like the writing is beautiful. I always say like, oh, this is just
Mm-hmm.
it's just beautiful writing to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and actually, my favorite poem in that book is
Mm-hmm.
is an excerpt from a I included an excerpt from one of my book projects, and so it's a poem called
It was.
Rebel. Um, the poem is
Mm-hmm.
called Rebel, and it really is just about
Mm-hmm.
me being able to be who
Mm-hmm.
I am, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever that means for you. Everybody just being who they
Mm-hmm.
are, even if it doesn't line up with the social constructs or what people want and expect you to be,
Mm-hmm.
just and that's why it's Rebel, because it goes against somebody else's brain, you know. But
No, I love that. I love that. I'm gonna have you end up reading some of that next time too. Um,
yeah, I'll be prepared with that
mm.
next time.
Okay, listen, no, listen. You'll definitely have your book next time. You definitely drop words about what self care needs to look like and what parents or mothers, community mothers deserve to be able to carve out that block for themselves. They're now counting us down to 2 minutes, so I'm gonna beat this clock this time.
I know.
I will beat you. I will beat you. I point at you with my finger and my toe.
Listen, I'm not
All
getting
right,
caught
y'all.
up in
So
boring shenanigans because I know Instagram will cut you right off. They do not care. And
yeah,
I'll be in the middle of
disrespectful.
talking. So you can
Mhm.
purchase the book. There's a link
Mhm.
in my bio. There's
Mhm.
a link in my bio. It's a link tree. And so all my links are there about
Mhm.
all the virtual events that I do.
Mhm.
It is available on Amazon. I also have physical copies, which are not available by Amazon. So you can just DM me for that. I accept PayPal and Cash App. Um,
Mhm.
but there is a digital version available on Amazon. It's called My Third Love. Love is spelled Luv. The link is in my bio at
Mhm.
Queen Phierce, or Queen Phierce at Spoken, Queen Phierce. But you can find other information about the other stuff that I do there too, as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, y'all, she dropped her Queen Fierce Queen Queen, and I want to spell too,
I E R C
Phierce.
E.
Yeah, so make sure you definitely follow her. She hosts incredible events. I've been at least part of at least 2 of them. And you should be too, especially anybody out here who's kicking poetry, a song, something you want to
Get
share
with
with the
me.
world. That's definitely,
I
yeah, definitely
love
hit her up and talk to her.
connecting, meeting new
Yes,
people.
yes,
This is what the Queen
to the,
Network is all about,
mm-hmm,
being able to connect and build and educate and
mm-hmm.
elevate other women.
Yes. Well, go ahead, Queen Phierce. I'm going to say goodbye, but I know we'll have
Yeah.
you again. So I'm going to start waving because we got 4 seconds.
Let me know. Love you, Rory.